Tired of feeling stuck, unseen, or like your body isn't yours anymore? It's time for a reset. Welcome to An Ageless Life, the midlife reset show, where science, movement, and mindset help you feel strong, energized, and like yourself. I'm Devi, a clinical pharmacist, Argentine tango dancer and instructor, and your guide for redefining how women thrive and grow in midlife and beyond. Let's get started. Hi, thanks for joining us today. I have Kelly Garnett. I was just talking with her earlier. There's a small town close to me called Garnett, and she's Garnett, right?
No, I'm Garnett.
Garnett.
Yeah. The stone is garnet. I'm Garnett.
Okay, fine. We got this. Really, we do. Okay. So anyway, I'm so excited to talk to you today because you're kind of a relationship guru kind of person. And the thing that I know is, as a midlife woman, relationships change over time. And what you need and you want or what worked before are different. So tell me and our audience, how did you get into this?
Well, I'm also a midlife woman. And so I realized that when I just recently met my partner, I needed to do things differently when it came to dating, specifically online dating. So I was using that as my main source or resource for meeting men and dating. And I decided after an ending of a significant relationship that lasted for about 13 years that I needed to do something differently and that I needed to approach it in a very different, sacred way. So my site is sacreddating.com or sacred-dating. And it was such an amazing opportunity to really get clear about what I wanted and align to that in really powerful ways, whether it be who I was reaching out to, who I was communicating with, who I was setting up dates with. It helped me to streamline my experience and ultimately lead me to the love of my life.
That's amazing. I think a lot of us think we need to get right back out there without thinking about maybe, if I want the same result or I want a different result, maybe I need to do something a little bit different as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So it was basically your journey of exploration that led you to going into this.
Yeah. And I've been doing online dating off and on for years. And there were times where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so if any of my clients, most of them are coming out of a significant ending of a relationship, whether it be a divorce or a committed relationship, and want to get back out there, but are a little timid by either never having done online dating or it's been a long time. I found that my strategies that I teach helped to make it actually enjoyable and helped me to build a deeper relationship with myself and with my higher power.
Wait, let's hold that for a second because my experience being on a dating app was not exactly fun.
No, it can be torture.
So I don't think, a lot of my friends are kind of the same way. I mean, some of them have had great luck and, found their significant other, but you talked about basically changing something in order to make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work?
So first and foremost, what I do with my clients is help them to get clear about what they want. So as you mentioned earlier, you could have a similar experience or something different, but you have to do something differently. Oftentimes, if we jump right back out there again, we're going to attract the same person by a different name.
Yeah.
And so it's really about, especially because where we are as midlife women, we are not who we were in our 20s and 30s. And we probably, if we're coming out of this significant relationship, we want to experience something completely different. So it's important to look at what worked in that relationship, what had you fall in love with your partner or your mate or your husband, But then also what didn't work and what do you want? How do you want that to look different in your next relationship? So if communication was an issue, how do you want communication to look in the next relationship? And then it's about really like, so at some point in my dating career, I, said I wanted the serious relationship, but then found myself kind of hanging out with this guy and that guy and not staying true and aligned with what I wanted. And so part of it was making sure like, this is going to be my forever person. So I need to take this extremely seriously. And I need to be very clear about what I want and then make sure I'm staying aligned to what I want. So if I want a serious relationship, then I need to meet people who are serious as well. If I met somebody who's kind of like, yeah, I don't really know what I want, then they were, well, I wish you luck. Goodbye. Like, no,
Right.
I need someone who is so clear that he wants to be in a serious relationship as well. Ironically, my boyfriend didn't. But when he read my profile, he was like, I have to meet this person. I have to know who this person is. Whether we're serious, romantic, anything, I don't know. I just need to meet her. And then decided, oh, I have to be in this relationship. Like, I do want to be in a serious relationship. And ultimately he did. But just at the time, he was kind of like, oh, I'll see what's out there.
Well, I think there are a couple of things that I really like in what you said. And part of it is not settling, right? Is
Yes.
figure out what you want and stick with it till you get it.
Yes.
And that's a lot of, I think that especially women in midlife are more, maybe discerning is the word to use.
Mm-hmm.
They're more likely to, at least my friends and my clients are more about, if it's not working, it's not working, and we're just going to move on. So I think that there's that part of it, I think maybe is a little more prevalent. There are some that have the fear of not finding someone. And do you find clients that are that way?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too broken. All the things are still, especially if they may have done the healing work to some degree. There's only, there's so much healing work you can do. And then it's going to actually take, I found for myself, especially being in a healthy relationship to work through some unresolved issues. But you're never too broken. You're never too old. We live in a world of over 8 billion people and love is in abundance. So there's someone for everyone out there, I believe.
I like that. Love with 8 billion people, love is abundant.
Yeah.
That's
There's a
great.
lid for every pot.
Yes, absolutely. So it sounds like the big work starts with figuring out who and what you are. Would you say that's right?
Absolutely. I think, well, yes, and what you want. I mean, if you have to know. I there were guys down there that were like, I don't really know what I want. I'll know it when I find it. Well, okay. And so then you're going to, then that becomes dating based on chemistry, to be honest. And if you're looking for something deeper, which is what this path of sacred dating is for me and for my clients, is to go really get really clear. When I decided to take this journey on for myself and I was writing my profile, I created a sacred space to really write it out. I spent time looking at quotes, looking at books that I had read, thinking about research I had done, even, in meditating and getting connected to my heart and what does it say and what does it want to experience. And so it really became this beautiful moment of creating my profile in that way. And there were adjustments that were made along the way, but what came out of it, when my now boyfriend read it, he was like, I read your profile so many times I lost count. Like, he was just so moved by it. And when years ago when I was online dating and friends were like, you just need to be, funny and silly and charming and playful and don't tell too much information and, all these things. And unfortunately, I love my friends, but I'm taking advice from women who aren't in a relationship that I'm holding out for, a deeply connected, committed, sacred relationship. They were in marriages and relationships, but that weren't of that caliber. So listening to them wasn't really going to support me in my journey because I'm looking for something very different. And so I had to go, you know what? I just need one. So it's not a numbers game. I don't believe it's a numbers game. I believe that there could be more than one that I would be a fit with, but I needed to be me. I needed him to know who I really authentically was, because if he didn't resonate with that, then he's not my one, period.
Yeah, and why would you want to spend all that much time and energy with the one who's not the one?
Exactly. We don't have time for that.
Oh, and that's one of the things that I really like about midlife is you kind of look at those things and you go, mm, 10 years ago I might have done that, but right now it's
Yeah.
like, nope, not
No,
interested. Thank you very much.
exactly. Next.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so part of what at least the midlife women that I talk with feel a little bit insecure sometimes about their appearance and how that might impact attracting a partner or thinking that they have to look a certain way or do certain things in order to um, attract a partner. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, so I had a client once who she decided to put pictures up of herself with no makeup on because she thought, you know what, at some point he will see me with no makeup on,
Yeah.
and if he doesn't find me attractive, then he's not my match. So she decided that she wanted to be that authentic, which I think that's incredibly brave. I didn't do that, but again, there's a lid for every pot, and so we attract from the inside out. We think we attract from the outside in. But truly, if you are being authentically you, connected to your loving, and exuding that, you're going to be unstoppable. I remember when I was in my 20s and my friend was telling me about this, I was feeling insecure at that time in my life too. And my friend was saying, I have this good friend who's very overweight and she attracts men left, right, and center because she was just so grounded in who she was and didn't allow that to stop or block her, that she attracted in all these men. She had her pick, where for me it was like crickets. So it's really about knowing that who you are as a divine being and you radiate beauty and joy and love. That's going to draw, that's the ultimate magnet to pull somebody in.
Absolutely. I've often talked with clients about confidence, and confidence isn't something that comes from without, it's something that comes from within
Yeah.
and has a lot to do with acceptance,
Yes.
self-love, and being vulnerable enough to
Mm-hmm.
really show who you are.
Yeah.
And it, especially in the business world or in other areas, makes a difference in how you attract clients and how, if you're a business owner, how that works, if you're in the corporate. But it sounds like it's super important in the dating world.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, if you want love, you have to be love. You have to be putting love out there in order to get it back. It's all kind of that mirror effect. And so being in your loving and figuring out, how can I absolutely accept myself? I was given this shell to navigate this time in. So how can I love it, accept it, and use it to be all of me, express all of me, share all of me?
I've heard from some of my male friends that women sometimes think they have to be a certain way when men don't actually think that that's the case. Do you find that to be true?
Oh, 100%. I believe that too. And
I know I did for many years, and
uh,
it got to the point where it's just like this is way too much maintenance.
oh yeah,
I got other things to do, like binge watch
right?
Netflix if I.
Yes, I am a recovering perfectionist and honestly thought I had to be perfect in order to have a relationship. And I've been so blessed to navigate through that with my current partner that, like, no, you've got it all wrong.
Yeah. What tips do you have for women that are recovering perfectionists, for lack of a better term, as far as do you have any little things that you can recommend that kind of help with that process?
Well, so we have a mind, but we are not our minds. We have our thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. And so really letting that sink in and catching when those thoughts creep in of um, something's wrong here, or something needs to be changed or fixed, or I need to control this situation,
Yeah.
and really going, is that real? Is that true? I love Byron Katie's work, which is
Yeah.
aligned with that, of asking those questions like, can I be certain that this is the truth? And really kind of allowing yourself to get out of the way and come back to your heart space and soul space and just really connect there, to operate from there every day, as much as possible. Because when we're in our hearts are going to lead us, and souls, to all that is meant for us and more. So really kind of, and the intuition, that's something that I work with too with my clients, is just really honing in on your intuition, because your intuition knows and will guide you towards what you need to experience, even if it's the contrast of what you want. Sometimes we are going to meet people, men, that aren't what we want, and it's that opportunity to go, okay, now I know this is not what I want to experience.
Now
It's
I
just kind
really
of,
know.
now I'm really clear that that's not it.
Run the
And
other way.
the universe is gonna test us if we say we want something different, and yet we keep attracting, like, say, the ex-husband, similar personality types. Then we have to learn how to navigate away from that and shift into something that is more aligned with what we really want.
Absolutely. One of the things that I ask some of my clients to do, especially when they have difficulty in looking at themselves objectively, is to look in the mirror, pick one feature about themselves that they like, and focus on that.
Yeah, I love that.
Because but it's hard. Some find it really hard. And you're talking about taking it even looking at from a soul level. So, um, are there um, are there other techniques that you use? I mean, do you like breathing techniques or focus techniques or meditation or those kinds of things? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Guided meditations. Louise Hay has the Life Loves You book. And in that, there's the meditation of looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, and your name. So I would say, I love you, Kelly, and saying that multiple times. And I found when I've done that, not only am I feeling a connection to my physical self, but if I'm looking in my eyes, I can start to almost soul gaze with my own soul, and it can be really powerful. It can be very triggering at first,
yes,
especially if it just sounds goofy to say I love you to yourself. But I mean, I remember when my mom would say, you just need to love yourself more. And I was like, what is that? Hug myself? Like, say I love you? Like,
what
that
does that
maybe,
really mean?
yeah. So, but really and truly from an authentic place, and even connecting with your wise self or your higher self or God, if you believe in a higher power, or even your heart. How does your heart see you? And just connect with how that being sees you. And then coming from that place of looking into your eyes and saying, I love you, Kelly. And get to that place where you really authentically mean it. That can be such a game changer.
Absolutely. I can't even remember where it was. I was reading, this was a couple years ago, that when you get up in the morning, talk to yourself the same way that you would talk to your child or your pet.
Yes, absolutely.
Basically saying, good morning, how are you? You're gorgeous. I love you. Mine are, you're the best kitty in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the work I do too is connecting with the inner child because that's where the wound itself usually lies. And so building a relationship with her, or if I'm working with men, then him, and really starting to align your relationship with them. Because oftentimes what I find with clients is that we're dating from our inner child.
Trying to fix all the things that went wrong before
Yep.
or protect, right?
Exactly. Yes. 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 Absolutely. So, um, building a relationship with the inner child to help them to feel safe and secure so that you can go out and make the choices from your adult self.
Well, and it sounds like this gives them the breathing room that they need in order to find out what it is that they really want, to really be able to heal from the things that have happened to them,
Yes.
and find somebody who's really much more of what they want rather than something that they're familiar with or a pattern or those kinds of things. So
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so important
Yes,
if you want to
absolutely.
experience something differently.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's you know, I think of it, I dance Argentine tango, and one of the things that I talk about with tango is that physical touch actually releases oxytocin. And oxytocin is one of those things that it's a feel-good hormone. And just, having the physical touch doesn't even have to be anything other than just that touch. Does wonderful things for your brain and your body and your blood pressure and your breathing and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also very seductive, that hormone.
Yes, it is. It's
And
extremely addictive. Yes.
yes. And once it's dropped, if you're like even hearing a man's voice that you've maybe kissed or hugged or had any kind of a connection with, it can get triggered through that as well. But it can be very seductive and very addicting for sure.
That's what's nice about dancing, especially tango. It's like 9 minutes and then you go to the next one.
I love tango. It's amazing,
Yeah, it's
fun
it's
and beautiful.
my favorite genre.
Mhm.
Um, so what happens afterwards? I mean, the thing
After,
is they do this work on themselves
right?
and they then build their profile based upon what it is that they know that they want.
Yes, exactly.
And then, I've been off and on the dating apps. I go on for a while and I go,
Yeah.
uh, so how does all of this? So now you figured out what you want. How do you able to communicate that and figure it out so you can set it up so you're actually attracting what it is that you want? Is that an easy process? Is that difficult?
It's as challenging as you think it might be for yourself. It's not a difficult process. Like I said, I took that time to really cultivate a very sacred space when I wrote mine, and I do have a really fun strategy that I use with my clients to support them in that. But it's only difficult if you think that's difficult, to really clearly get what you want to experience in your next relationship. But to me, it's fun. And I actually have a free swipe with certainty session that I offer, and I will audit a profile if somebody already has one, or I'll help them to create one that's aligned with themselves. And I give them some prompts to help them kind of, get the clarity that they're seeking if they're wanting to present their profile in this way. And then I work with my clients to kind of help, you know, we can create the profile and that's great, but you got to stay aligned to that profile and you got to stay aligned to what you're desiring. And so I help them navigate, who they're talking with and any kinds of like responses or anything like that, dates and things like that on their
Gotcha.
journey.
Yeah. I want to make sure that we let people know that I will put the session that you talked about, the to review
Like with
the
certainty.
yes, the certainty
Yeah,
session. I love that. That's fabulous.
thank you.
In the show notes so that they will have that information so they can jump in and get one. I think I might do it too, just because it sounds like it'd be interesting.
That would be awesome.
Anyway, okay, so back to, okay, so now you have your profile,
Yes.
and then do you recommend a certain number of sites that people go on, or there's some that you like better than others? Does it depend on your age, what you're looking for? How does all that part work?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of nuanced sites now, like based on religion, based on
Yeah.
interests. So, really, it's something, I mean, there's, I think, hundreds out there now. So, it's really a good idea to kind of go through. With the free ones, it's great to kind of, browse before you shop, and then window shopping. And but for me, I personally liked Bumble. I thought was great. It wasn't my favorite to reach out first, but I felt like there were good quality men on there. And then I met my partner on Match.com, so that's a good one too. And then Coffee Meets Bagel was also a good one as well. But
Great.
there's so many.
So it sounds like it might be that based upon what your own individual background or what you're looking for, there might be different sites that fit more with whatever it is that you're wanting. But it sounds like you would recommend doing more than one at a time.
Yeah, I do. I recommend maybe two at the most. It can be overwhelming otherwise, but yeah, like especially if you have like hikers one, if there's a hikers one or Christian singles, for example, and then do one that's not religious based.
More
There's
general.
still plenty of the interests are on all across the board. But that way you just have more options. A lot of people are actually doing it on are on multiple sites just because you just never know who's
You
out there.
never know.
No.
Well, I think if you have anything parting wise that you want to share with the group, I know we were going to put the link in for them as far as that goes, but any last words you'd like to share?
Yeah, so don't think of online dating as the only end all be all. A lot of people are on there. There's a lot of options, so it's a good tool, and that's what the nice thing with the online dating, well, while it can be very overwhelming, can also be very deeply connecting because you can get to the root of it so quickly. If you meet somebody in a bar, you're not going to necessarily go for some depth, questions. You're going to do the surface talks, right? So, or small talk. So I do love that about it. And that's what made it so sacred for me, because I could easily move in and out of talking or swiping, with whoever I came upon. But it's a tool, it's a resource. So, like I said, you want to be giving the love as much as you're getting the love, and in order to bring in the love. So doing things you love, the tango dancing, for example, if you are in that and just loving it, that's an amazing way, not necessarily to meet somebody at a tango class or dancing, but you're going to be radiating that. And so you could go out to dinner afterwards and boom, there's your perfect person, right? So it's about doing what you love, focusing on that, and then using these different resources to support your journey.
Well, thank you very much. This has been great. Like I said, the information will be in the notes, and thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That's it for this reset. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode gave you something to think about, I'd love to have you subscribe so you never miss what's next. And remember to grab your free gift, your midlife superpower, 5 simple power moves to feel like yourself again. The address for this is, or link is, anagelesslife.com. /superpower. Thanks again. Bye-bye.